This is Super Mario Bros., a video game released in 1985 for the Nintendo Entertainment System and the start of Mario's own game series. Okay, Mario had his first title game a year earlier in 1984, that's the Mario Bros. Arcade. But this genre-defining classic is what truly started the Mario Golden Age. And it's 40 years old now. How time flies. This happens to also be the very first video game I ever played. My regular babysitter had two daughters and they had an NES with the Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt cartridge. Our NES, which I believe we got sometime in 1992 or 93, did not come with Duck Hunt, but I obviously have a long history with this game. Still to this day, even with all the Mario games out there, original Super Mario Bros. Is still one of my top 3 favorite titles from the series, alongside Mario 3 and Mario 64. What is there to say about it? Well, quite a lot actually. For one thing, SMB might have not been the first platformer or the first platformer where you went from left to right, or the first platformer where you get extra lives from collecting 100 coins, or the first video game to have a soundtrack with not a single bad song, or even the first video game where literally every enemy character is named and iconic. But it might have been the first game to put all those things together. I don't know. And with the massive explosive popularity of the console it was released on, every 2D platformer basically tried to copy it. The thing I always love about looking at the first game of a series is seeing the development of, well, everything. It's kind of like starting up the first Mega Man or the first Sonic and seeing how everything is slowly coming together. But in comparison to those games, Super Mario Bros. Was already shockingly complete. Sure, there are a few technical limitations, particularly not being able to go anywhere except right, but that doesn't really bother me. The play control is the same as it has been in pretty much every Mario game since. Your power-up lineup is very stripped down with only the Magic Mushroom, the Fire Flower, and the Starman. But really, this game demonstrates how you really didn't need much more. In fact, to this day, even with all the different powers Mario would get in subsequent sequels, the Fire Flower remains my favorite. And that's keeping in mind that the fireballs only travel across the ground and you can only shoot 2 at a time. Also, even though there are only about 4 level themes in the entire game, the soundtrack never gets old. I've discovered in subsequent years that Koji Kondo did liberally borrow bars from quite a few songs while making the soundtrack, especially the Sewer and Starman themes, but honestly, it doesn't bother me. I especially love the graphics, despite how crude they are. Later Marios on the system definitely bumped up the detail, but the presentation is still a testament to how iconic all the enemies are, as demonstrated in the Japanese and European box arts for the game. In fact, I've always vastly preferred this to the American box art. And also, fun fact, this is the only Mario box that was actually drawn by Mario's creator, Shigeru Miyamoto. For the latter part of this review, I'm doing something different. I don't normally do a rundown of a game and all of its levels. That's more of an Aqualung thing. But this is such a good vibes game for me, hell, I feel like doing it. So here it is, my run-through of all 8 worlds of Super Mario Bros. World 1. I'd call this one the tutorial world. It starts with possibly the best first level from any video game. You're only facing Goombas and Koopas in this, but it gives you a taste of all the power-ups and even a few little secrets. The first sewer level is my favorite from the whole games, for similar reasons, and this is of course where you can do the level skip by going above the exit pipe, which I didn't do for this run. The mountainous third level is also a complete change of pace, as you're doing more jumping than running. There is also a revisit of this level, as well as the castle from this world. Honestly, these jumpy levels are some of my favorites. And the castle, yep, it's fine. I always love how dopey Bowser looks in this first game. You can beat him with just fireballs, but canonically, in all of the levels except World 8, he's just a Bowser lookalike. World 2, I call this Water World, even though there's technically only one water level. I'll explain in a minute why. The lead-up isn't anything too wild, but you do get the first ever beanstalk from the series, which leads you to the Cloud bonus stage. I always thought it was a bit weird that the Starman theme just plays in all of these. And for some reason I always think of onions when I see the Cloud Mario rides on. Okay, but level 2, we hit the underwater. And this, if you remember my super old favorite Mario levels video, is my favorite level from this game. I generally tend to like the water levels in most games, and the soothing music of this one is just awesome. I really wish there were more levels like this in the game. Also, in case you didn't know, I'm pretty sure this is the melody the Koopas dance to in the live-action movie. The third level is the easiest level in the whole game. You're dodging flying Cheep Cheeps, but you literally just have to run and never stop and you'll be fine. Oh yeah, and this is also the one that I used for the video where I put Mario 64 noises over it.
Let's go! Boing, 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 waha! Here we go!
Hey, Hunter from the future here, telling you why now I call this the water world, because I forgot. So you basically go underwater and then the fish chase you. And that's why it's called the water world. I should have put that in the script. The castle level is a bit more daunting, and there's a harder version of this one also later down the line. There's nothing super special about it. I've always really liked these elevators going up and down. They're just kinda neat. World 3. This is the first night world. Gotta be real here though, it's probably the least memorable world of the bunch. Though I do get the warm fuzzies the first time I see this because the change in color scheme is just kinda fun. But yeah, level 2 is just a straight run to the finish line, so yeah, kinda lame. I think level 3 is my favorite in this world because it's another jumpy level. It now has the platform suspended on ropes, which is a neat element. The Bowser Castle this time is no joke. It really feels like we're amping up the challenge a bit, and it's the last time there's nothing on the bridge. Alright, World 4 is the Mushroom World, and starts off with the first Lakitu level, which I think is ironically the most challenging. Honestly, all the Lakitu levels in this game are shockingly easy, and this is really the only one where that Bombardier bastard manages to come back multiple times. The sewer level is pretty solid and introduces us to the Buzzy Beetle, who are genuinely my least favorite enemy in this game. They are the only thing in this game that is immune to the fireball, and that technically makes them unkillable. Yeah, they are so much less threatening in subsequent games. Alright, and then level 3 is my shit. It's the first time you get to platform on giant mushrooms. And on this run, I accidentally blocked myself with the rope platforms and had to commit suicide. The Bowser Castle is the first of the 3 maze castles where you have to take the right path to make it to the end. This one's pretty easy, so I accidentally blazed through it without showing the castle cycle back in on itself. Now there's fire chains and Botobos on the bridge, and it's gonna keep getting crazier. Honestly though, I'm not a big fan of the maze levels for a reason I'll get into later. World 5 starts with the first winter level, though sadly there are no ice mechanics. Or if you struggle with Mario controls, you might actually be glad, because this is the debut of the Bullet Bills, who honestly don't fire very often in this first level. Level 2 is another slightly unmemorable slog. Honestly, the only real challenge here are all the Buzzy Beetles. For level 3, it's a recycling of World 1's level 3, except the platforms are smaller, and there's Bullet Bills coming from the distance. I don't know, maybe I'm a masochist, but I kinda love the addition of the Bullet Bills. Really raises the stakes for this one, though the level's still pretty short. The castle level is the harder variant of World 2's castle. Not much to write home about. World 5 might actually be the second lamest world because half the levels are revisits, but at least it's revisiting to good levels, so still better than World 3. World 6, the second spookier night world. What's so spooky about it? Well, you get Lucky-Doo right off the bat. Nah, you just kill him and can basically run to the finish without him having time to come back. Seriously, I told you the Lakitu levels are super easy. Level 2 has a lot of pipes, which makes me feel like this is basically a precursor to Pipe World in Mario 3. Okay, level 3 is where it gets real spooky. All the color disappears from the world. And it's another jumpy level. This might be my least favorite of the jumpy levels because it requires so much precision, but I still like it. The castle is just World 1's castle, but harder. And Bowser throws hammers now.
Stop! Hammer time!
As a total side note, I normally have a lot of problems with the Hammer Brothers in original Super Mario Bros., but for some reason during this playthrough I didn't. I can't really explain it, it's just kinda weird. World 7 is the second water world, and it honestly kinda sucks. Level 1 is okay, you have a lot of the toughest enemies in the game, signaling that we're getting close to the end. But then level 2 and 3 are just revisits of World 2's level 2 and 3, except there's now more bloopers in the water and Koopas on the bridges. This is really pathetic stuff. I kinda wish they just had 2 original levels instead. I take back what I said about World 5. This is the second worst world. Anyway, it's time for the second maze castle, and I legit got stuck here. The real enemy in these maze levels is the timer. If you don't remember the path, the music speeding up really puts you on edge. World 8 is the final world, obviously, and weirdly, it's actually kinda easy. Okay, level 1 has a lot of enemies and a lot of pits, which is why I ended up having the only game over of my run here, but then I hit A and start together and finish the game. It's weird how this level gives me trouble. Level 2 is another Joke Lakitu one. You kill him at the start and then he literally never respawns. Like yeah, there's Buzzy Beetles and Bullet Bills, but it's a pretty clean shot, with not a lot of long pits to jump over. Level 3 has the most unique background with these bits of unfinished wall. Lots of Hammer Brothers here. This almost feels like a reprieve. It's just a super simple level. Oh, by the way, I love how they try to blend this coin block into the walls. The final Bowser Castle is a more elaborate maze level. It has cycling parts, but the challenge is finding the correct warp pipes to make it to Bowser and put an end to him. And there she is, red-headed Princess Peach Toadstool, telling you your only reward for beating the game is playing an even harder version of it. Nah, despite how basic this end sequence is, hearing that iconic princess theme always gives me the warm fuzzies. And that was Super Mario Bros. Tell me, how do you feel about the game? Where did you play it for the first time? Do you prefer the original or one of the remakes? Whatever. Leave those in the comments. I'm TheHande back in. See you on the next one.